With so much tears rolling down her chin, Ogechi took the water and drank it. But unknown to her, Ohaji's sisters had added some charms to it. Immediately she drank it, she fell to the ground and lost her sanity. When this happened, a very long time ago, there lived a young girl named Anuli. She was the daughter of Ogechi and Ohaji. Her father, Ohaji, was a very successful trader, and he was the wealthiest man in the village. Ohaji was popularly called the traveler because he traveled far and wide and was barely ever around. But whenever he returns, he spent his time with Ogechi, Anwuli, and Chikezie. Anwuli had one brother named Chikezie. They loved each other so much, and because of that, they became best friends. Ohaji provided everything for his family, and he would always buy his wife and children expensive clothes and everything they ever wanted. Ohaji was not very close to his siblings because they were jealous of his success, and not only that, they hated Ogechi because of the way he was taking care of her. His sisters accused Ogechi of bewitching him and controlling his wealth. Although Ohaji was sending them money every time and taking care of their children, they wanted more. They wanted to be in control of his properties, and because of that, Ohaji had to cut ties with them and forbade them from coming to his house. But once in a while, he would send them some money for upkeep. Ohaji was very happy and his family was blessed. He was well respected in the society for his kindness and compassion towards the needy. The entire family continued to live in harmony till one unfaithful day. Some strange men came to the house and asked for Ogechi. When she came, they brought a coffin, and it was Ohaji's corpse lying in the coffin. He had mysteriously drowned in the river from one of his travels. Ogechi began to scream and cry. Anwuli and Chikezie joined her. It was a sad day. Some villagers gathered in their house and began to console her. Immediately, Ohaji's sisters heard the news of Ohaji's death. They came to the house and started pointing accusing fingers at Ogechi. They accused her of being a witch and having a hand in her husband's death. Ogechi continued to cry and mourn the loss of her husband, Ohaji. Ohaji's sisters continued to create a scene, and the elders had to intervene. Ohaji's sisters told the elders that Ogechi was responsible for her husband's death. The elders asked Ogechi if that was true, and Ogechi was still shocked by Ohaji's death, and so she was silent. She did not utter any word to anyone. After some time, the elders requested to bury Ohaji as he was a reputable man in the village. But his sisters refused and said that Ogechi must prove her innocence by drinking the water used to bathe Ohaji's corpse, as that was demanded of every woman who was accused of killing her husband. Ogechi remained silent and did not utter any word. And soon, some villagers supported Ohaji's sisters, especially the ones who were jealous of Ogechi. When the elders realized that the opposition was too much, they ordered Ogechi to drink the water. So women begged her to do it in order to clear her innocence. With so much tears rolling down her chin, Ogechi took the water and drank it. But unknown to her, Ohaji's sisters had added some charms to it. Immediately she drank it, she fell to the ground and lost her sanity. When this happened, most people found her guilty, while others were silent about it. Ohaji's sisters threw her things out of the house. Anwuli and her brother Chikezie insisted on following their mother. Ogechi began to act like a mad woman, and her children would always stay with her to protect her. Soon, they found an abandoned old house at the outskirts of the village. Anwuli and Chikezie cleaned it up and they made shelter there. Anwuli decided to start hawking fruits she plucked from the bush in order to take care of the family, as her aunties had taken over her father's properties and had left them with nothing. She would hawk the fruit round the village, but no one would buy from her, as she was labeled the daughter of a witch. This continued for some time, and Anwuli and her brother decided to cultivate instead so they would get enough food to eat. Anwuli worked hard and provided for her mad mother and brother. When her aunties discovered that they were still surviving, they were worried that one day Chikezie would come and lay claims to Ohaji's properties, and so they devised a wicked plan and sought powers from their witch doctor. One day, when Anwuli and Chikezie were clearing their farm, Chikezie fell to the ground and started shaking. And before Anwuli could call for help, he died. Anwuli began to scream and cry. She carried his body to the house, and when Ogechi saw this, her condition became worse, and she became mute and numb. Anwuli went to the elders and told them about Chikezie's death, and they took his body and buried him beside his father Ohaji's grave. There was total silence in the house, and Anwuli continued to mourn her brother Chikezie. Few days later, Ogechi became sick, and her condition continued to get worse. Anwuli visited several herbalists, but none of the herbs worked. And few days later, Ogechi died. Anwuli told the elders about it, and they told her that they cannot accept the corpse of a witch, and that Ogechi's corpse should be thrown into the forest. When Anwuli heard this, she left disappointed, and she dug a grave close to the abandoned building and buried her mother. Every day, she would go to her mother's graveside and begin to sing. She did this every day, and one day, her mother's spirit appeared to her at night and told her that their deaths were not ordinary, and that her father's sisters and their husbands were responsible. AWELE was shocked, and she told her mother that she was going to tell the elders, but her mother warned her not to do so. She told AWELE to leave the village before daybreak, and as a matter of fact, they were plotting how to kill her. AWELE did as she instructed, and she left the village before the cock crowed. Later that day, some thugs came to look for AWELE, but they could not find her. AWELE traveled far from the village and started life afresh. She began to sell fruits, and before she knew it, she had enough money to start her food business. She was very good at cooking, as her mother had taught her well. The villagers loved her food, and she became famous for it. AWELE vowed to work hard as she could, so she would never suffer again. Few years later, she got married and gave birth to beautiful children. AWELE was so happy with her family, but she never forgot what her mother had told her. One night, when she was sleeping, her mother appeared to her in the dream and told her that it was time for her to avenge them and take over her father's properties. AWELE told her husband about it, and they both went to the village together. Because AWELE's husband was very influential and rich, he paid a visit to the king and told him everything. The king invited all Haji's sisters and their husbands for dinner, and the chief priest was also present. When they got there, a meal was served. AWELE had prepared the meals with some herbs she got from her mother's graveside, as instructed by her mother in the dream. The herbs was to nullify every charm they had on them. When they had finished eating, AWELE came inside the room and began to say everything that had happened in front of them and the king. They were shocked to see AWELE, but they were not afraid of her because of the charm they had. When AWELE had finished talking, the king asked them if what she was saying was true, and they all denied it. The chief priest told them that the only way for them to prove their innocence was to swear. They agreed to it and swore, but unknown to them, the charms that were supposed to protect them was nullified, and they all fell to the ground and started to confess. The king ordered them to be taken to the market square, where they confessed to killing AWELE's parents and brother and taking over their properties because of envy and greed. After they were done confessing, they became mad and were cast into the evil forest along with their children. The villagers apologized to AWELE for how they turned against them in their trying time. AWELE forgave them, and she and her husband thanked the king. AWELE dedicated her father's property towards taking care of the poor and needy, as she was already rich and lived far from the village. She built a proper grave for her mother, and her soul finally found rest. AWELE and her family lived happily ever after, and the villagers never forgot her. This is the end of this story. Thank you for listening to this story. Please do not forget to subscribe, like and share this video, and also comment where you are watching from below. We love and appreciate you. Bye.